Hello and welcome to the DM's Book Club, a weekly book club podcast where we talk about some Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, no, not anymore. I've kind of given up because there's so many other games out there, and how we could improve it and include it for all of our campaigns. With me back again in the co-host chair is my wonderful friend Taylor. Hello, Taylor. How are you?
Hello. I am once again better than ever.
Yes, that's what we like to hear. That's what I'd like to hear. It's been a little while since you've been on, because last time we had For the Queen, last time as a chat through that, which you had some really good exploration thoughts on it, which I very much appreciated.
That's very kind of you.
It is. But what have you been up to since we last saw you on this podcast?
Ooh, I mean, first of all, it has been summer, so roasting.
Yep.
But my little baby podcast that I blood, sweat, tears, and just everything on that
puke,
has been on
cry.
hiatus.
Yes.
Puke and Cry is back.
Yeah.
And you know that because you're in it.
I'm in it. Yes. No, absolutely delightful for Backwater Bastards to be back in our ear holes and stuff. Exciting and very climatic. Every time we play, I'm just there going like, I think it could end any moment. And
it has been a bit intense.
Which is great. We love a good actual play for us.
We're definitely, in danger. And I think that's kind of all you can really hope for in a TTRPG. Mm-hmm. We are constantly in danger. We are under threat. At any moment, Fiona could die, and I mean that with extreme seriousness.
On this call by you? Oh no!
We can't know. We can't know when the axe will fall.
But I guess my quick question to you then, as sort of a part of that warm up, is obviously, like you said, you've been on hiatus for a good couple of months, and you've been doing other things, and then coming back to a very familiar character and obviously very familiar setting, and obviously myself and the other guest Hamilton and Willem, along with Dick and Dan, like. How does that feel? Does it feel like familiar? Or is it exciting? Anything new about it? Coming back to playing with your team again.
Even though we've been on hiatus, I haven't played quite as much of this character as I normally have because we've been living we split the party situation. Mm-hmm. And so I have played another character. Probably I played M8 a little bit more than Cleo in the past recent memory. But at this point, I've been playing Cleo since 2020. And I feel like it's ingrained in my body. So it's definitely going to be weird if I ever stop, I guess. Yes. I don't think I do stop. I think even if I'm not playing, I'm still doing the voice like in my life, which is great.
It's hard to know where Tay stops and Cleo begins always.
At this point, yeah, it kind of is sort of an inextricable thing, but we struggle to have guests.
Yes.
So like hats the frick off to you because having guests is a lot of work.
Yes.
And especially because of how we play, we know that like our rhythm is that it takes us like 3 to 4 episodes to finish an arc. And it's hard to know like how to slot a guest in a way that's going to be fun for them.
Right. Yeah.
And so for a long time we didn't do it. And we wanted to do it because it is the most fun. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, playing games with other people is sort of the point.
Yeah, weird, huh?
And so this is like a big win for us to come right out of the gate season 4 with not only 1, but 3 guests at a time.
Whoa,
that's the most we've ever done. And it's working out very well because we know you and Hamilton and Willem. So perhaps we have spoiled ourselves a little bit. And it's kind of like we couldn't maybe have picked people with more experience playing games than the 3 of you. So I think like this is going really well.
Yeah.
And I am grateful for that. But also like I am having the time of my life, even though we are definitely cruising for a bruise.
It's true. It's definitely, it's been a while since I've had it, because I consider it like a little bit of like a home game, even though, like I said,
it
only
feels
guessing
like
in.
it. For us, it is a home game.
Yeah,
like
it feels joyous and delighted to be a part of it. So I always look forward to it when it's in my diary. I'm like, it's here. Oh, it's today.
I love it. For people listening, whenever this comes out, for you, things will have been released, but for us, some things have not happened yet.
No.
And I think the next game we play, I am so I'm like excited, nervous.
Nervous. Yeah, which is what you should be as players, I think.
I am so ready to play. And when we took a hiatus, I kind of took a hiatus too, because I used to stream a ton. And I took a bit of a break doing that. And that was nice because now I'm kind of like, oh my God, I am ready to just one-shot myself into oblivion. Put me back in, coach.
Yes, I'm
ready to do some projects.
Heck yeah. Well, Taylor, what are we talking about today? What is our topic of choice?
We are talking about one of my all-time favorite games, Dialect.
Yes, a game about language and how it dies.
Yes, that is key.
Yes, that is key.
This is an important piece.
So you say it's your favorite game then. How did it come about that you heard of this game? And then obviously I know you played it as well. So yeah, tell us the stories about that.
I have played it. I haven't played it that much, so it's kind of a stretch to say this is my favorite. But I think like sometimes you play a game and you're like, all right, that kind of felt like what most games feel like. This is not an unusual experience. This is what I am used to having. But Dialect felt so different to me, maybe. And there are other games like it. So it's not like, this is such a strange and weird thing that you've never seen and will never experience again. But it definitely was not an experience that I had, I think. Even though it does actually play a lot like the way my home game / podcast plays. I feel like the collaborative effort that you have to use to move the story.
It's a lot of discussion and making you can break out into little scenes and stuff like that. But overall, all of you are the storytellers on this. You are the weavers, and you're talking to each other and going, oh, yes, or how about we tweak this throughout the whole thing for, I think, roughly it's 3 to 4 hours, it says, for a game time. But I could easily see this being like a whole afternoon.
You could play this forever.
Yeah.
You could play this forever. And I feel like after playing it, I was like, oh my God, I never want to play another game again without playing this first.
Yes, agreed.
And that was where it really seemed cool to me, because I think every now and then you sometimes are lucky enough to experience like a tool or like a game tool, play tool that you're like, whoa, this really helps. Like Better Backstories is one of my favorites because it just is, it's really interesting to me how fast it helps. Like, no matter what game you're playing, like if you're trying to create a character, it's such a easy way to build bonds between characters or context, or just why are we in the tavern? You can go in raw and figure that out, and a lot of people do. And then there are a lot of people with opinions about why you shouldn't do that or why you should do that or whatever. And I would know because I play for a person that has an opinion on that. But with a tool like Better Backstories, or a tool like that, I mean, I have tools like Better Backstories that are not Better Backstories, but these are really easy ways to just kind of add immediate depth. And I use these on different one-shots where, and Dialect has tools built into it that work like this. So it's kind of you get the benefit of these bootstrap techniques that are okay, you're going in quick. Here are some ways to actually instill some meaning without you doing the traditional, I wrote 16 pages of backstory. Can we use it?
Yeah.
No, we're doing a different thing. And I think for anybody who has ever had to do a thing called a design sprint, there are this is a thing that happens to people that build stuff that's usually digital. And the concept is we have to solve a problem. We're a team of people. Somebody's going to facilitate an experience where we do a bunch of activities to try and solve the problem, because we get in our own way when we think.
Yes.
But there are all these little activities where you have to draw something. You have to draw something for 8 seconds, 10 times. And you can't think about it too hard, and it has to be ugly, and you have to embrace that because the idea doesn't start out fully cooked, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like Dialect feels that way to me as a game.
I love that idea of you have a designer's away day, or we need to do some team bonding, and whilst people would maybe go for something, say, like For the Queen, for example,
Right.
like that's dead easy, prompts, whatever. I think you definitely get a lot more satisfaction, obviously, depending on the group, but something
Yeah.
like Dialect or like it's sort of inspirations that you've put down here, like The Quiet Year is another one, The Ground
Yes.
Itself, I'm sorry, did you say Street Magic, which is all about world building and creating off other things. But what's interesting about Dialect, as as we sort of said at the beginning, is that the focus isn't on necessarily the people or creating a world. It is the language that this
Yes.
community, this isolation creates. And that's something where it's unusual. I don't know of any other necessary games like it that created that. We've got stuff like Zeo Language and Sign, which are slightly different, but also by Thorny
Right.
Games who published this. But also, I think that something like language can put people off. It's kind of scary. I mispronounce things all the time. I don't really have a second language. And you go, oh, I don't know if that's the games for me. But actually, I think you get so much more if you were like, this is a away day afternoon, we're going to try this game, having a competent facilitator to encourage that play, and you come away with terminology that only you and maybe four other people around a table know.
Yeah.
It's so interesting and cool.
It's such a cool game. And I mean, they give you so much resource in the game.
Oh,
in the
incredible.
book.
Like
Like
the amount of
a ton of
essays,
stuff.
activities. Yeah, no, again, it's very well researched, this book, and obviously lots of credit to it. I guess my only quibble perhaps with that is that I would love to see online resources like videos
Yeah.
or more actual plays of people trying these exercises a little bit more, because that's the other thing. I read it all, I was like, this is great, but I don't know.
It's very deep.
It's so deep, so dense.
There's
at times.
definitely like a ledge. I feel like when you read the book, there's some stuff that you're like, I can definitely utilize this for my game. And that's the stuff that kind of comes packed with it, right? Like,
Yes.
I can definitely form, the story. Okay, I have enough tools to do that. And then there's also like, they give you instructions for creating like your own backdrop or whatever. So it's like, okay, I could maybe even form my own world for this. Which is like, I think, the stretch for a typical player.
Yeah.
But then you get deeper into the book and you get into these like glossaries that explain like the fricative, like, and you're like, will I learn phonemes in order to play this game? Perhaps not today.
Not today, but I like that it's there.
But you could probably really utilize this stuff in a cool way if there was maybe like a little bit more help.
Yeah, I agree. I think like it's very cool, and like it shows the dedication of the writers and all the the additional folks who worked on this and contributed to this. Like they saw the brief and were like, okay, how can we support this?
They deeply studied for this, like, and I mean, be well beyond my capability for sure. Like, as an ESL teacher, I was like, wow, so cool to see this many specialist experts thinking about a game, because like, I think most of our like social issues, a game is a really interesting way to grapple with problems.
Absolutely.
And like, this is a great way to do it. This is an interesting attempt at that.
So in this game, as we sort of spoke at the beginning, you are creating something called the Isolation, which is like an isolated community of some sort. The backdrops, which you mentioned, are sort of like the scenarios or the basic setting that we can put into it. It could be something like an outpost on an alien planet. It could be like a boarding school of some sort. Anywhere in between. And obviously the book itself has so many examples of it. So once you've picked your backdrop and started setting that up, you create something called archetypes, which is like a character that you will play in the game. And then you have something which is like called the language tableau. So a visual thing of like these index cards where you will create aspects that are related to this backdrop, the three aspects. And then through each of the ages, it's called basically big old sort of turns, you will sort of adapt these aspects as they go through, as you explore the story of how this isolation comes to an end, whether it's you're dispersed, something bad happens, or people just disappear. And I think that is it. That is its sense, is that that the story is going to follow the characters throughout, but it's not necessarily going to be like, and then they do this, and then they do that. You could come through years later, millennia later, depending on what you're doing. And the focus is on how the language adapts to what happens to the isolation, and then how that language impacts on the characters, the archetypes that you have.
And they give you everything that you need to do this. The majority of the mechanics in this game are in the setup. which is kind of a different experience from the typical game. And you are playing with cards. I love a card game. It is not just a card game, but there is a deck, and the deck is beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah.
And if you buy a hard copy of this, do not forget to pick up your deck with it like I did the first time. I bought this at PAX, and I had to come back to the booth and get my deck because I didn't realize that it wasn't with the book. But I didn't actually play this the traditional way the first time I played it with a language tableau. And they give you a very clear image of what this looks like. It's very much like you have these rings where you place your cards, your note cards, and all your pieces. But I played this online remotely on a stream live. Wow. And we used a Google Doc. And I love that because there are so many things that I can't play because I live in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Yeah.
And for me, setting up a game of like, oh God, I mean, there are so many cool, like, and now I'm blanking on every single one of them, but like the game where you use Jenga and the game
Dread,
like Dread. I want to play Dread so badly that I can't see straight. And I'm like, I am going to have to trap people at my office.
I think you're going to have to do that. Yeah.
To play Dread. And I'm going to have to buy Jenga. And like, oh my God. And you're just like, this does not feel immediately doable on the internet.
Yes, agreed.
Oh my God, the candle game and like
candles,
I want to. I have that, but I can't play it. It like, and I know people have. Yes. I know that there are people out there doing this remotely, but like this, super doable. We managed it. It was very painless. Used a Google Doc, took pictures of the cards, like shared them in Discord when we drew a card or whatever, or when we got assigned a card, take pictures of them, show them on stream. It was really phenomenal.
That's
and
really great.
I loved it.
Yeah, I think that's what I do think. Like nowadays, more and more games are thinking about digital accessibility and how can we play them. So stuff like Alice is Missing, where it's all silent, but you could be all in the same room on your phones, but you could easily do that remotely.
It's always an interesting conversation to hear how people who are going to do an actual play on stream, how they're going to manage this, because it's like, what are we watching?
Well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah, because you go from the silent role plays, like, do you just capture one person's window or several people's? Yeah, because what's the audience see? Because it is such a personal thing. And I agree with going back to Dialect, is that it feels very personal. And like when you advance the cards, I think like if you were to play it in person, it would feel very that tactile element I always sort of talk about. It feels like, wow, we're making a point to it. But as you said, you can easily play it online, whether it is you use Google Doc or there's now I think like you can buy it on Roll20 as a pack, so that all the cards.
Do they have it?
I believe so. So yeah, so it's one of those things where if you can put it onto a VTT platform of some sort, that instantly makes it more accessible for people to try. Because I do think a lot
100%.
more people are playing online nowadays, just because you don't have a car or you live in a remote country and you still, it's such an easy thing to go
just
on to say
time.
Yeah, time in general, but like you can go into like start playing or something like that, and you can just jump into any game. So you think, well, what's the barrier to my game being played? Well, it's probably the digital stuff. How can I make it
100%?
That you don't necessarily need those cards from the language set, even though they're very helpful. So how can we put that into something else?
Yeah.
The setup for this is most of the game rules and stuff like that. So how did you play it on? Like, was there a session 0 for yourself?
There
or anything like that?
Always there. Session 0 or bust. I played this with UK actual play, and we had a session 0. And the session 0 for us was, if I remember correctly, was building the world, because that is kind of character creation is usually like you take up a lot of your session 0, figuring out who you're going to be. But that's quite a small part of this game, and not because it doesn't matter.
No.
Like every now and then you play a game and it's like who you are isn't really critical. Who you are is critical in this game, and there are tools for figuring that out. Like they've got role cards, like archetypes, I think they call it, where you figure out like, are you the explorer? Are you the artist? Like, and what's your name? And how do you interact or relate back to the aspect? Because one of the like core and I love, as a person who does not GM like ever. And this is not a GM'd game, but it is facilitated. So somebody does have to have read the book and know what the deal is.
Which, yeah, absolutely, just to help with that flow play, at least for the first turn. And people are like,
facilitated doesn't mean let's all just let it rip. It means like nobody is narrating and like fully holding the responsibility of the plot in their body.
No. But
like somebody does have to know like what the game is. So like, somebody's read it. Okay. And I think they help you out a lot with this because as a person who would seek additional assistance, they kind of lay this out for you in a really clear way, which is like when in doubt, the aspects are the bedrock of your game.
Absolutely. Yes.
Tie everything back to the aspects. And that is a direct quote from the book. And I love that because if you ever come to a point of like, how? First of all, there are examples in the book, so there you go. Which are very nice, but it's like this is such a solid design principle that it's like this game has a core, and the core are the aspects, which are how you relate to your world.
Yeah,
and this is like the context of your story.
Yeah, you when you pick your backdrop, you sort of answer to. Or you sort of pick two sort of aspects that come of it in the sort of questions, and then you can choose one for free, which I quite like as well. So, like, you know, again, depending on what tone you're going for, you could be like really leaning into the seriousness of it, or go silly, or whatever. It prompts you from that. So I like that you do always have choice, but they have so many options as well.
And everything really does tie back to the aspect. Sometimes I feel like a game will present something like this because it sounded cool.
Yes,
and then you're like, where does it happen? When will this come back up? And I think probably everyone has felt that in some respect, like playing a board game where there's like some really interesting thing and you're like, okay, but like when do we use the melons? Like what? Why do we have them? And then you worry the whole game. You're like, are we playing this wrong? Like,
where's the melon rule? Yes,
I was playing like a World of Warcraft board game or something, and we were like, why is it so easy? Oh, because we're fully misusing it. Got it. Like, and so, you know, this is like a thing that is so easy. It's so easy to think like we understand our game and we've shipped it and bam, it's in the world and people will definitely understand it like we understand it. No. Sure. But this really worked for me because, I mean, like, when you create your character, you are presented with, like, how does your character map back to the aspect?
Yeah.
What are the aspects? When you build a word, how does this word interact with the aspect? Like, as we move through the story, you kind of are given this structure of, like, this sort of, like, beginning, middle, end structure that encases the whole story, which is very nice for a game that considers itself to primarily exist within the, like, confines of a one-shot. Like, they expect you to play this once.
Yeah.
And, like, do another version when you want to play again. It's not a campaign game.
Yeah. 100%.
And, like, not a lot of games, I feel like, set themselves up to be perceived this way.
Something you said earlier as well about, like, a lot of games worry about, like, oh, we don't want people to take their ideas and go into another game, perhaps. But I love that. I love games that can give me, like this gives me, cool, this could be the prequel before the actual system.
Because when we finished, I was like, I have to play a campaign after this.
Right. You get so excited because you have these ideas and the story that you've created. And the same with, like, The Quiet Year.
I immediately want to play this again to start a campaign.
Yeah.
I want to do this as a team building at work. Like, it's so interesting for that. Like, this is about the interpersonal relationships between people and how we communicate.
But in the sense of, like, you're not creating like a full-on character. You're just picking this out and go, cool, that person's name is Kevin or Kerry or something, and that's it. And
I love that.
Those aspects,
as you know.
Yeah.
Because you start with very little in your bag and you're supposed to evolve and develop through the game.
Yeah.
And, like, building the language with the people that are in your cohort, like, this is how you effectively become the character.
And what's cool about it as well, so, like, on your turn, so you will play a card from your hand that you have on one of the aspects and be like, okay, I'm going to make a connection for this word of some sort, like a concept, or, like, you know, and you sort of brainstorm with the other folks about what that word could be, what it sounds like. You have the final say on it. But then you can choose from the players here to put players, maybe yourself, maybe not, into a scene where that word is used, and it gives it context and justification.
I love
so,
that.
I think that's so good because then...
And I am not surprised that you love that.
Yeah, I love that because one of the big things I always think about like sci-fi genres, and maybe I've told you this story before, is that when I've pitched doing like, let's do a sci-fi scene for my improv online team where you pitch the ideas and then you improvise it. I've done like...
I don't think I have heard this.
So I pitched... USS Slay was the name of the skit, whereby what if the latest starship that they're putting out from Starfleet was manned purely by Gen Zers and below, like as a way to get new people in. So of course, old Picard comes on the ship and everyone's like, oh my God, Slay, and it's just like that sort of vibe. And then you meet the aliens and they're like, oh my God, Queen, all that sort of vibe.
Yeah, you ate Queen.
Exactly. So, but the rest of the team members were like, oh, but... And I thought they were going to say, we don't know any Gen Z language, because I don't either. I say that. But they were like...
Obviously, we don't.
But they were like, we don't know any Star Trek stuff. We've never seen it. And I was like going like, but I could tell you that you're part of engineering, or I could tell you, I could say things. You sound really confident.
Right.
I've not watched all of Star Trek, but I have an idea of like if I say certain words... That get your tricorder out. Let's see. I'll scan it for life. Like certain phrases are tropey. So that's why I think something like this would be so useful, because then not only do you create the word, you're then saying it several times in a very short scene to emphasize its meaning. And I just think, and then like in improv, when you say someone's character name 3 or 4 times, they're like, Sarah, hello, how are you? It's good to see you again, Sarah. And it's like, it might sound unnatural, but like it doesn't, because then that person goes, cool, my name is Sarah. And it's the same thing with like the example they have of like, what is a word for friend? And I think they go Essie is the in the play example that they use.
Yeah.
And obviously, if I just say that randomly to you, it's like, well, what does that mean? But if you played a scene where we're having
what is it again? How do we use it? How do you pronounce it? What is it?
How do I, what is it? Where does and what's cool about it is that through that discussion, when you're building the word, you work out the etymology of how we got to Essie, when maybe it was from...
you inherently build the world.
Yeah. You add a little bit more to it.
I love this because everything in this game is so well used.
Yes.
Like, I really believe that. There are so many times that I've played a thing and I'm like, this whole feature of a game seems cool, but we didn't really do it. Or like, the typical example is people that play D&D and they're like, we don't do measurement, or we don't like think about how much the stuff in our pack weighs, or we don't do death saves, and there's like people who love it. There's people who don't know that it exists. There's house rules, and that stuff is all fine and great, and I don't really care which way you do it, but I've definitely felt there have been moments for me when I play a short campaign, especially for like a stream, where I'm like, there was so much more to this game and we used the top like 2%. And that's like most experiences for me.
Probably, with one shots as well, we rarely delve in deep to
but I feel like I used the whole entirety of this game, and that blew my mind. It really impressed me, because I think that's hard.
I think to experience everything and go and have it really satisfying and not be like, cheated out of some way.
And I didn't feel like we, sometimes you feel like, okay, we did try to use that and we definitely used it wrong. Like when we played Morkborg the first time, which is another system I love, and I was like, I probably played that badly the entire time. And Hamilton was like, yes. You guys weren't supposed to be able to kill the Lich immediately. Got it.
So funny, though.
And it's like, were we supposed to check to make sure we could actually do a magic before we did a magic? Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
Magic's dangerous in Morkborg.
So then it would have been a little harder. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Like it's so easy to misinterpret, especially when you're like, okay, we got all our people here. We're trying to get this going. We need to play it live. We're doing, whatever. And you just do the best you can. And it's like every board game where you're like, hold on, let's play and read the directions. Oh, wait. It's fine. Just go,
A lot of times, because people don't have the time to already play through. They'll have time for a session 0, but not have time to go through the stuff themselves. So a lot of times we'll see one-shots or short streams where that people are just feeling out the rules, and people understandably worry that, that looks really rubbish. And I'm like, it can do, but if you're confident enough to be
but sometimes I like it.
I like it a lot. No, I agree. I think like as long as someone goes, I'm going to check.
It depends. It's so circumstantial.
But I think it depends on not only the facilitator, but the players at the table going like, hey, the expectation is if you've got a question, ask me.
Yes.
Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna be like, you should know that, because like we will help each other. Because I always see that as a teaching thing. But I know some people really think like I must know the rules, or will be just happily just not say anything, and then afterwards they go, I got it wrong. and I'm just there going like, just if you, as soon as you spot it, try and correct it. And it does, if you need to go to a break, that's okay. But like, because people want to be watching these streams because they probably primarily want to see you and what story you create, but also they're like, I want to create my own story.
Debatable, but sure.
Yeah, but depending on who you are, I guess.
But I agree 100%. I think that like above all things, the most important thing is that the game is fun, because games are just a vehicle for consent. Like there's a thing that I say a lot in software development where I'm like, games are the thing that happen within the magic circle, and the magic circle is the place where you have consented to the game, because a game, he who cannot consent cannot play. Like if you are playing, then you've consented to playing. And so if the game feels good and everyone is having a good time, then whatever.
Yeah. The other thing as well, because obviously sometimes, you're looking at these cards and you're giving like, okay, we need a new word for friend or something like that. What I do like is that there is this rule called the variant rule, whereby you could discard a card from your hand and be like, I like that word. What if there's another word related to it? Yeah. And then again, it's a sort of yes-anding jumping off point. And I think in the book it talks about, in the example, it talks about like, this idea of like your past or you're trying to always outrun your past and you're thinking about them. Yes. And then the play example is like, well, what if there's something like not them, and like almost like a political faction like standoff between them from using these different phrases. And I just thought that was such a cool way of looking at it.
They really help you develop.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing about language, right? Is that it evolves within a context. Like, we are constantly building words. Like when I played this game the first time, I think we were like workers that had gone ahead to Mars to build a settlement for people who were going to come live on Mars. And these settlements were not for us. We were just like the people building the settlement. And there was an AI kind of keeping everything in check. And the AI, I think, was being managed off-world, potentially by these people who were going to come, like, move into this habitat. And the habitat that we were building was way nicer than the habitat where we lived.
Yeah, of course.
And this is a backdrop available to you in the game. We ate it up.
Yeah,
and
I love
we
that.
Ended up, like,
so many tensions
forming language because we were starting to become afraid of the AI while we were working. And it was like the AI is creating austerity and like limiting our resources potentially because of like some sort of austerity back on Earth. And the people controlling it are like, well, we can't be giving them so much resources if they're not going to work. One of them got injured. And that person shouldn't get food. And then we were like, oh my God, the AI is not our friend. And so we're trying to create language so we can connect.
Yes.
But so that the AI doesn't know what we're doing. Yeah. And it really escalated because all of a sudden the onus is like, we have to talk and figure out what to do. But the AI is monitoring us. And now we know it's not our friend. And you act this out. You build words and then you do the scenes. And the scenes are so targeted. So it really helps. Like you're like, this is what we're doing a scene about. And you pick some people. And it is cool because I've never really played like that. Like this is what improv feels like.
Yes.
You do a scene and that, that's a different context. But in a game, I've never done this where you really like just string the scenes together like beads on a string.
Yeah, and be like, I want to see this. It's a bit like kind of like Fiasco in a way. Again, you have that sort of backdrop. And okay, it's got to be I'd like it was seen with this two people. And the only thing you can do in Fiasco is either ask for a good outcome or you can set the scene. Those are the two things you can do.
And the cards help you do this. So you're not just going in dry and you're not guessing like, well, what scene will we do? It's like you get some prompting from the cards.
I can imagine, again, if you felt very comfortable with it, like maybe improvising your own scenes. But I like how it's like, if you following the structure gets you a very satisfying.
And the structure was not suffocating. So if you do this a lot, or, you're like a seasoned improv trooper, or you've played 1,000,000,010 games, whatever. Like, none of this felt prescribed or overbearing or, okay, now we do this. Like, we had a lot of freedom.
It's interesting you talking about your experience about this the AI and stuff like that, because, again, maybe...
A little topical.
A little topical. But it's also, I can imagine, again, obviously with everyone's consent and setting expectations, that you could play these games of this isolation in probably some very dark topics. So instantly the thing that comes to mind is, I'm sure you've read it or heard of it, but like the boy in the striped pajamas, the idea of being, you know, concentration camps, asylum camps, all that sort of thing.
And there are some pretty dark backdrops available in the book.
Yeah, so obviously your mileage may vary on that, but like I think it'd be such a cool way to be able to like safely talk about these topics, which probably impact a lot more people at the table than you realize. And but it doesn't say that. I think it's just talking about language. It could be so I just think that's really interesting that it's not necessarily we're going to have a jolly jape. I assume a lot of the stories might end up being sad or dramatic over comedic, but I think that's okay. And it doesn't present itself as this will be a sad game, which I hate it when people go, oh, I like playing sad games. I'm like, well, no, I like playing games to have those really cool experiences that are
if I want to have a sad experience, we can craft it.
Yes, exactly. The emotional rage is there.
But I believe that you also have the option to create, because even though, I mean, this game ends with something happening to you.
Yes.
It doesn't mean you die.
No.
It mean, because I don't think, if I remember correctly, we didn't. That didn't happen to us. We kind of actually did end on a positive note because we built such a cool situation that we were like, and you get to kind of choose how you go out, but you're meant to play the game understanding that like your fate is sealed.
Yeah.
And the game has to end with you guys being the only ones that speak your dialect.
Yeah.
Like this dies with you.
Yeah. Whatever happened, the isolation is broken up in some way.
But I can't help but feel like when you do this and you create like the seeds of this, I think we had somebody, like everybody got their own ending, but I feel like we had some situation where we like left, like something of ours was maybe left behind. So that potentially like the dialect could reignite.
Could continue
in almost like a ancient way, like this has been uncovered.
Cool.
And I think that's almost like the onus for a campaign afterwards. Like
100%.
you build such a rich world doing this game.
And it's interesting, this legacy, it's called, basically the epilogue.
Yes.
Compared to when we were talking about it for the Queen, which kind of goes, and that's the end. And you go, wait, what? Here, it's baked in, because the people, even though, again, your characters on it, they're just there, like almost like placeholders to, hey, this is a language, they're going to talk about it. You still want to be like, you're still attached to them in some way. You played in these scenes as these characters, so that you want to make sure that they're not forgotten about. Their lives continue on, or and this is what happens to them once the isolation. So I think that's great that it's baked in that. It's just interesting, that comparison between the previous game we talked about,
I think if played well, this game feels so wildly collaborative.
Yeah.
You come out on the other end and you realize that whether or not you thought you were going to, you have crafted an extremely well-rounded world. There is lore. Yeah. There are so many snapshots of events, because when you play the scenes, you're effectively doing those moments in a tabletop game where this is the thing you talk about after. The scenes are like these hyper condensed moments of like interesting interaction and a language. Like you've basically crafted the reason that a society would develop language, and then you get to choose your ending, and you get to do this in one sitting. So you have the high points of a campaign in a single game, and imagine like having the massive prequel vibes that you've just created of a well collaborated experience, and then you start a campaign. I'm sorry, this is something I desperately need in my life.
I was going to say, you're fully invested.
I am selling, like, who is going to be in this campaign? It is happening.
I've got a question for you, because obviously, because I keep going on, like, you have played it. So the scenes that you did,
yes,
did they feel really easy to do? Obviously, I appreciate you're online, you're learning, you're probably playing with people for the first time, even though I know you've got a lot of experience playing with people in one shots, so just getting on with it. But like the scenes themselves, they should be fairly short. Did it feel easy to do the scenes, get the language out, and be edited, or did you edit yourselves? Like that's one curiosity I have, is people doing the scenes. Like, was it like full on role play, or was it just you describing things? What was that experience doing those little scenes, if you can remember?
Yeah, so you don't go in cold. There are kind of two halves to this. You build the word, and building the word is out of character for the most part. Like, I guess you could do this however you want, but when we built the words, you read the card, and the card gives you a lot of help. The card gives you a context, like why are you building a word? And, potentially a way in which, how does this tie back to an aspect? You pick the aspect, you have a couple. And I actually still have our document. Our aspects were Google Docs, man,
So good.
Jeez. Our aspects were, we are chosen, the red planet, and AI is making executive decisions for the community. And so we are chosen as like, we were workers that were sent to build a utopian city for rich people. We're expendable. That's how it evolved. And we're on Mars, and this is a place where storms are happening. So storms were like a daily occurrence in our life, and this, inevitably when you're trapped on a planet, this becomes sort of a moment of note. And then there was the AI making executive decisions for the community, which was our free aspect.
Yeah.
So we just made that up. And then you get like a few other resources to dig into that. Like you do these, everybody answers a community question. So you add to it, you name your isolation, you build your character, which is a very quick affair. You get a name. Yeah. You build the name, whatever, and you pick a archetype, and then you sort of are given like an aspect question. So they might be a little different, but it's kind of how you identify back with the original aspects. So for me, mine was like I identify with, and then I picked the red planet storms, and that we're chosen to build. So I was an artist. It was an HVAC mechanic. So, very as per usual. And then I had to pick a muse, and so I chose the aspect being chosen to build. So this is something that like really inspired me. Like we were chosen, and we were chosen to come to this place and craft something that will outlast us. And that was very inspirational to me. I was a very positive character. I was just a mechanical engineer. You can flesh it out as much as you want. And so it gave me like some context about like, why am I here? What am I doing? And who am I? And that's it. And we build the words together, and the words come with context. You build the word with your group, but somebody has a say. So whoever's turn it is, they get to kind of decide, well, is that what I want to do with this word or not? And it is very easy to build the word because you sort of chat it out, like, what are we talking about? And what's the context, and what might that mean? And like, if we're talking about this aspect, what do we think could happen to us? What do we think is happening to us? And the word sort of comes out of that situation. And by the time you've had that moment, which is very similar to that moment in a table, like a home game, where you're like, oh my God, what do we do?
Yeah.
So there's like a thing over there. We don't know what's in the box. I only have 3 spells, like you kind of have that like metagaming moment, which it's like people have opinions about that, but the reality is that when you're playing with a group, you do have these like chatter moments outside of like, I'm not Bronwyn the Hunter. I'm Frank, and I don't understand what to do with the box. What do you guys think?
What do you think? Yeah, absolutely.
So building the word is that moment for me. And it's also like a chiller moment where I guess like if you wanted to, you could go back through the resources in the book and kind of say, I have an idea. And they walk you through ways you could build a word. So you don't even have to go in cold on that. Like you could even think like, okay, a word could be it could be an acronym. It could be like a combination. It could be slang. Yeah. Like how do you make slang? You shorten a word, or you put an O on the end of it, or,
Oh, you mispronounce it,
Yeah, you misspell a word, you heard something and you didn't know what it meant, and now you use it wrong. Like, you build whatever you want. And then the person whose turn it is, they agree on it, and that's done. So one half of this is over, and now you have the scene. And by the time that you go into the scene, you kind of know what the word is. You understand what its job is, and you kind of have given yourself the lore byline. So by the time you get to the scene, you probably know how you want to use the word. because you've given it some lore, like this is a word about the storm. And so like I was trying to install HVAC and I got trapped outside, like you've already had that talk. And so the scene is the role play for the talk that you've
had. Already cut to that action. You're not having to. And
you could do it differently for sure. If you want to go in colder than that, hell yeah, let it rip. But if you don't, you don't need to feel like this sounds unplayable, because it's such a nice way to enter a thing that is inherently an improvisational scene.
Yeah.
Because in improv, like, you do go in cold.
Often than not, and you spend the first 30 seconds working out what your partner is doing, and if you're on the same page.
Wow, hey everyone, there's a beehive in my purse, and I just got on the bus. Go. And you're like, I'm trying to drink a milkshake. And they found it.
It's like, my long lost brother, welcome to the ship. There's an asteroid there.
Exactly. What? And so if you think it might feel that way, it's very rare that I think, even with a group of people who have never met each other and have never played a game before, I don't think it's likely that you will have that experience.
No, I agree.
Because of the word creation.
Did it feel easy, like, in terms of time, like you could get it set up within like 2 minutes and then someone would go, okay, that's great, and then move on? Like, was it just easy?
If anything, we had to kind of police ourselves to shut up.
Yeah, no, that's my worry, is that like you would take a long time, because we like indulging, we like having a little chatty scenes.
Yeah, we were having a really good time with it, and I think like there were some words that were so clear.
Yeah.
That once it comes out, you're like, oh, it's that. Yeah. And that kind of organically wraps up the creation. But sometimes you do have to figure it out for a minute. Like sometimes you don't. And this is a thing that has happened to you in life, whether you realize it or not. Like you have had this moment of like, that's not quite it.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something and we've not found it. But by doing that, even if you're taking a moment, you are kind of collaboratively building the world. Even if you don't realize it in that moment, because the more that you explore that, it's such a trick, actually, because it sort of distracts you into doing purely creative work without overthinking it too much. I think, like, I'm sure it's possible. Everything, you can always get lost in the weeds, but it sort of tricks you into setting up quite a lot of lore in a very small period of time.
Yeah, making it count, making it efficient. Because my suggestion would be, if it's taking too long, the scene, like you're running, would you set a timer and stuff? And I would feel really bad to do that. I think the facilitator has to be the one that goes.
This is where the facilitator comes in, because I think they do talk about, like, when they explain to you, they're like, okay, like, what is the facilitator's job? Because, this is not a GM'd game. And that is inherently scary, I think, to go into a game and you're like, what does that mean? What will happen to us? Who's in charge? Who will tell us, hey guys, just go through the door? Okay?
Yeah, just do the thing.
Go through the door. Like, you've been talking about it for 45 minutes. And I mean, like, if that's your party, you know who you are.
It's you. Yeah.
But they do kind of lay this out, and it's more of like a gentle guidance. It's not a mechanic, but the facilitator's job is to know the game, which is like not as intense as it sounds, to keep the play tight. So like try to sort of not let it run for 10 days, and to make space so that everybody gets a chance to speak. If you do have, power dynamics in your group, or louder voices than other voices,
people just chatting away,
all kinds of stuff.
And it's just having that confidence to go into what you're saying is this, and then they can go yes, no, and then be like, that's what it sounds like.
Because nothing's gonna feel as bad as like, wow, we built a society and a language together, except for Jamie didn't get to say anything.
Yeah,
and you're just like, oh, whoops, like.
Yeah, it happens. People don't.
It does happen.
You gotta encourage people to contribute.
So the facilitator is kind of like softly reminded, like, this might be a very like soft skill task that will come up.
Yeah.
And there's no table for this. There's no like set of roles. Like, you just You don't have to time yourself. If you want to, you can. You have to create quite a lot of words.
Yes.
And I feel like it didn't really pose any kind of, we didn't organically fall into any like time traps. But we had a good facilitator, Maddie, and they did kind of do these tasks to make sure like that there was space, that time was managed, and that we understood how to do the thing. Because I mean, you can really load yourself into this game without reading anything if you're not the facilitator.
Agreed. Yeah.
And the facilitator kicks off so that you can see the gameplay in the first turn,
which I think is
and you
great.
are encouraged to play that way, which I love, because that's how I like to learn.
Yeah, you
is by just going in.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and it feels great. It's like you build the isolation together, which is how they sort of new player experience you through the rules. Like building the isolation is another trick because they are actually getting you to like do the thing.
Yeah.
By doing this fun activity together. You are inherently like, you are so carefully shepherded into this. And then the facilitator takes the first turn and it's like, got it.
There's no weird change.
These are people who have played a board game, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I was going to say, but it's a board game whereby, the status of it changed or whatever. Even like the possible choice you get with the transition prompts. So when you transition from, age 1 to 2 to 2 to 3.
Right.
At the beginning, you get to choose a pathway from your backdrop, but you just stick to that same pathway and which one is interesting at the top. And that's it. And I'm just like, cool. So you could replay this backdrop again.
You could replay your own story and it would be different.
Yeah. And that's great. Got great replayability, but it's not like, okay, now you've chosen this one. Well, now we've got all these other cards. It's so simple. But
I could imagine myself playing the same backdrop just because of how much I liked it. And it wouldn't matter, I think. It would just be... And it is such an interesting thing because usually when you buy a game, the backdrop is kind of programmed in. Obviously, there are supplements for a lot of games, so you can change it up. But for the most part, you buy a game and you're like, well, this is, Alien, and guess what? It's gonna be Alien.
What?
Like, or whatever. Like, okay, we've bought, like, Pathfinder, and there's gonna be Pathfinder vibes. That's the world. Like, and I think that's not a problem, but it's not typical. I'm not used to getting a game and being like, what world would you like to enter today?
Yes, agree.
Here's the tools to have whatever setting you want.
What excites you, yeah.
In such a like packaged, tiny, immediate way.
Well, that's what I was going to kind of end on, is that the book itself, the PDF, is so beautifully laid out. Like,
oh my God.
The PDF is 185 pages.
And it is gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. And it's because it's got the cards at the end of it. It's
illustrated.
It's illustrated, but it's like half the pages have some white space, but it's used in a way that I'm like, oh, it's not wasting that white space. It's like,
yes,
like they've got
very intentional.
They've got the flow of play, which I've been looking at for this whole thing, like right in the middle. It's on a red sort of background. It goes, this is all you need to do for your flow of play. It's just 2 pages. Everything else is just like over explaining it. Every sort of beginning of a chapter is like, here's the rules, and the next couple of pages are like, here's us expanding on them with the same play example, and then at the end, obviously, you've got the backdrops, you've got your essays and stuff, but it's so gorgeous and simple, but it's so eye-catching. I like, obviously, the illustrations, as you said, and the cards demonstration. It's beautiful, and it, like, normally I would be like, does it need images and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, I feel that all the time. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, sometimes you read a game book and you're like, they obviously like commissioned a load of art and now they've like clip art shoved it into like places where they feel like they can just wrap the text around it.
Exactly.
This happens. It's not every game book. No one freak out, but like it happens, And as a fan of game books and art, both, this book blew my mind. This was one that I have to admit, I saw it and I bought it before I understood what it was.
The cover is gorgeous. Like the way it sort of puts the sort of dialect on different lines and then the drawing around it. It's
just so
stunning.
Lovingly created. Like there are so many experts that have put time into this. There's so much just learning in it. It's filled with quotes about the value and importance of language in a society. It's filled with art. The cards are gorgeous. It's so rock solid. They have set this up to feel so good to play.
Yeah, and even if they didn't have the imagery, like even like the pencil drawings of like what a folded A4 looks like, or the even the language tableau, it is written in such simple language that you could follow. Like literally, you could follow it like almost like a recipe. Those first couple of pages, and then you're like, oh, that's it. And I just think that's, again, I always think it's a big thing. If you don't need images to be like demonstrating stuff, but it supports. And so, yeah, I think it's just such a good balance of writing, supporting images, and likewise as well. Like, we're not overindulged with images, but the images we do have, they are striking. Like, you'd have them as like postcards. I almost like, oh, more merch, but like a tote bag, like with the language stuff on it. I can imagine
if they made so merch of this game.
I was going to say,
my God.
You're on it. You got the t-shirt, a hat.
It's just so beautiful. Like the art. Oh my God. And they have like, you open the book and they have like a dedication page to all the different people that did art for this.
Yeah.
And it's quite a few people. I mean, so many people worked on this game. It's really, it's staggering.
Yeah, well, there you go. That is our quick gushing take of Dialect, which again feels a bit more substantial.
No hot takes from me. Oh my God!
No, because I think it's such a different game, and I want more people to play it and try it out, and then not be scared by what we all fear, the Duolingo owl. You know what I mean? Like that's why I feel people.
Oh, don't threaten me with the Duolingo owl and the borderline inappropriate emails that I'm getting from him right now. All you need is for somebody to see a push notification on your phone that's like, answer me or I'll come to your home. And they're like, oh my God. Oh, it's Duolingo.
Oh, it's Duolingo. Yes. There you go.
Got it.
I guess what's your big takeaway from this, from the book? Obviously, you've played it, and I know you're going to say just everyone should go play it, but what's your big key takeaway from Dialect, would you say?
My big key takeaway is that sometimes I think I will call this, and please do not at me for my potential incorrect use of this terminology, but I will classify this as a moderately fringe game.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Moderately fringe, like it's not unheard of. People know this game, I think, and it's not like a super bizarre mechanic, but I don't think the general public would maybe have played this game. And I think that sometimes when you experience or see or are exposed to these moderately fringe games, maybe at a game store, your local nerd hole or wherever you buy your Warhammers, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Wherever you're buying your Warhammers at, you may, if you are so fortunate, be able to see a game like this. Mm-hmm. Maybe you only see games like this online. Maybe you only see games like this on a choice venture to a convention, specifically at an indie game stall, which is where I bought mine. Big, fat, gracious shout out to Indie Press Revolution at PAX East when I went. Bam. They are why I have this, and they were very helpful in picking it out. And when you go to a place like this, you will be inundated with millions of games. Yeah. And some of them are like, oh my God, come with pieces. And some of them are like one page. Some of them are written on a piece of cardboard with a real pen. And you're like, how did this get here? And like a lot of this stuff, I think some of this stuff feels maybe hard to approach. Yeah. For a lot of different kinds of people. And I think Dialect is such a intelligent game. A lot of really smart folks made this. And do not be intimidated. Don't be intimidated by the fact that it's not D&D. Yeah. It is different. It will feel different. Don't think it's going to be hard to do the scenes. Yeah. Because I get it. Not everybody role plays at their table. It's okay. You don't have to go hard on it. Don't do voices. Don't mess with it. Just be you. I don't think I did a voice for this game. I was just like, we were so like calm with it. Yeah. Just experience this like this is a set of actions that you will take with a group of people. It's okay to take a minute to figure it out. Enjoy the pages of like look through the illustrations. if something's really interesting to you, go deep on it. If something's not interesting to you, don't. If you want to change it, they recommend that you play that way, because in the book, they explain it's okay to play the game you want to play.
Yeah.
This is a guide. Yeah. And oh my God, you can have such a cool experience with it. There are so many other points that I could choose to make on this, but I think like this game deserves to be played.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you walk away with like a lot of deep insight about language or not, whatever.
Yeah.
There is some really cool stuff in the back by an individual called Stephen Bird about the real world implications of just languages that die.
Yeah.
And it's actually deeply useful crap. I gotta say, like, hats off to Stephen Bird, because there are so many problems in the world that people may feel moved to interface with, and they don't know where to start. That is the saddest loss of all time, is how many times you want to help about some problem and you don't know what to do. And I know that like we're all supposed to do our own research and figure it out. But the reality is that like, you know, life and just different cognitive load and just all the things that can happen to you. But there is like a bunch of stuff laid out in the back of the book that kind of gives you like a idea of how to help safeguard language, especially language that is at risk of becoming, you know, less heard. And I mean, I live in Iceland, so I'm not going to say Icelandic is an endangered language, but there's not a lot of people that speak it, you know, in the grander context of the world population. And I read these safeguard resources with that in mind. And I mean, you have to think like there are so many people that have lost a language that are alive today, that wish they spoke their language, that don't have the resource for a lot of reasons. And it's cool sometimes to enjoy a game, but also be able to see how sometimes play can connect to the like greater ecosystem of our world and maybe teach us how to be a better human in the process. But also, dang, the cards are pretty.
The two takeaways: cards pretty and save languages. Absolutely.
And you know what? I will insert a hot take. And the hot take is it's not that hot, so you know,
mild. Yeah. Okay.
Manage yourself. Manage your expectations.
Okay.
I would not hate, and this is such a nitpick, I would not hate a more centralized quick start.
Yeah.
Even though this is a very easy game to start up, and it is very narrative the way that they walk you through it. Yeah. Which is kind of nice, and I appreciate it, and I don't really dislike that.
No.
But they do have these pages throughout the book where they do kind of sort of do a quick start.
Yeah.
And I love those so much that I just wish there was like a more evolved, I guess. And it's because of the work that they did on creating like these kind of almost infographic style quick start, very containered pages where they're like, here's everything, but I'm kind of a sucker for like a detached all-in-one quick start that truly is like pre-chewed food.
Yeah.
And just bear with me, like, it's nice. Life has a lot of noise in it. Make it easy to get in.
Yeah, I think having like player reference sheets that are just separate, that you just have.
Totally.
Or even like you said, like you only need to read the first 10 pages of this book rather than going, oh God, it's 160 pages.
And that could be a really interesting resource to have for like the pages that are in the back of the book where you're not really checking. You don't really have time during play to read that. Like these like graph charts of these massive tables of like how to, you know, cut a word up into phonetic sounds.
Yeah.
Like if there were some almost, you know, just like easy takeaway resources for stuff like that, I wonder if, and this is not, obviously it's not central to the gameplay, like you don't have to have this, you can play 1,000 times without it, but if there was like a really airtight resource for that, I wonder if you could get more people to use it, and that would just be an interesting experiment.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that. Like, try and get more people to use it in other games, not just this
It's
game.
a lukewarm take.
No, I think it's. I mean, this game's been out since 2017, so it's a couple of years old. And I don't think necessarily there needs to be a second edition because the gameplay mechanics don't need anything. But if there was a second printing, maybe considering making it more Zine, like maybe like it is piecemealed up. So again, just thinking about that accessibility
for the people that that would want it, it could be a very cool thing. Like, I know, like, on a second playthrough, I would definitely use something like that.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I kind of want to make myself something like that.
There you go.
Because you always, you know, especially people that play like D&D, you kind of have your own little things that you set yourself up with when you play a game.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like and you buy stuff like this too, like turn trackers and like your little spell slot
little cards,
thing that you bought, and the cards for spells.
You're writing them down.
There are so many, like a rage tracker. Like there are so many little widget thingies that people are selling. And I mean, obviously, like an indie game, one-off, not a franchise, maintenance, budget, money, life. I get it. Not a drag, not like a massive red flag fire hit, but would be cool. I love resources.
I mean, I instantly can imagine, like, if you buy like magnets, like fridge magnets, the small little ones, and then, you know, when you do those poems on the thing, but you just have so many like different like suffixes, prefixes, and you could just mix them around, and then you go, cool, that's a word, and it doesn't matter how you pronounce it. But you could. I think that would be really interesting to try out together. So yeah, something that supports. Yeah.
Could you imagine one of those, like, you know how they do the cloth board game boards now?
Yeah, so I was going to say,
I say now like this is new, but
having the tableau over like a cloth thing, and then
can you imagine a beautiful, like, well designed, like very textured tableau?
I love
would
cloth
buy
things.
It.
Yeah, I love cloth stuff like that. I think it's great. Like
what if it became a bag, like a pouch?
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. The other game I was thinking of was a game called City of Winter, which is you journey. You are going to the City of Winter after some migration thing, but it's a scroll, and if the physical thing, you just open it up slowly. And so, again,
I love that. Can you imagine, like, if this tableau folded into a bag, like it just like, and then you put your cards inside that?
Yeah.
This reminds me, again, I keep going back to Love Letter because I've been playing it so much, but like Love Letter is in a bag, and I love that, and I dump it out, and it's all there, and that's great. Yeah. But like, no, this is not a hot take. It's more like, if I could have more things, they would be this.
This is my list. Yeah, absolutely.
I would give you more money than I already have if I could have these merches.
These things, which will cost you a lot of money to make, but just for me.
They will cost so much money now to manufacture. Thank you, world, for everything that's going on. Yeah, so I say that with full awareness that, like, as a person who makes things with no corporation support at all either, it's like so hard to do anything ever. The fact that games exist from an indie perspective, like, it's nice. It's great that this is out there. It's a hardback book with a deck of cards. Like, that's an undertaking.
Yeah, that really is.
You know what? And to have been able to pay all those artists and all those people that worked on it, hell yeah, great work. Yeah, because it's hard enough to get like enough money to even print the dang things now. But
I guess my thing would be moving on from, maybe Forney Games would not be able to do that sort of much, but let me tell you, some Etsy dice bag people, I'm sure they're out there. What about you?
Oh my God, Etsy dice bag people, please.
Just you've heard our call. We want more weird game accessories for niche games. So start working on that cloth map, you know? Oh, Tate, thank you so much for bringing this game to our attention. No, and I was, as soon as you started talking about it, I was like, oh, we need to get you on to talk about Dialect so much. If people want to find out where you are on the internet and more about Backwater Bastards, your podcast, where can people find out more information?
Well, you're not going to believe this, but it's everywhere that you get your podcasts.
What?
I know you've never heard that before. It's
pretty
probably
impressive.
Hitting really weird. It's like a new thing. No one really says it. But, you know, and even maybe some places where you like don't get your podcast but could. Did you know? YouTube? Yes, it's there.
Yeah.
Little thing called Good Pods. It's there. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody else has named Backwater Bastards yet, so you can pretty much search it and find it wherever you want to be. Mm-hmm. It's all over. And oh my God, please listen, because boy, it takes a long time to make these things.
And what about yourself, Tay? If people want to come check you out on the internet, are you doing any of the streams, or are you just like hanging and vibing and seeing where the wind takes you?
Well, I too am on the internet, by the way. You might find that strange. It's rare, but I am at Tay, Tayvanbiljon, Fumbleon. That's me. And I'm on the bird and the butterfly sky, whatever. All these places that we go.
Social, yeah.
I'm sort of there. I think I probably live more on Discord. You can find me there if you want.
Yeah.
Because Backwater Bastards, guess what? It does Discord. And I am deep in the Backwater Bastard universe right now, but I am coming out of my hole. It's real. It's true. For the very end of D8 Dungeon Drive Get Hexed.
Heck yeah.
The 31st of this month, I had to check because I was like, what is the last day of August? How many Augusts are there? 30? 31? It's 31 for those that are wondering.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be for a game of Big Gay Orcs.
Heck yeah.
By the one and only Grant Howitt, my king. My idol. Big Gay Orcs. And I can imagine that you're wondering what I'll be doing in that game, and I will be both pious and forgiving.
Ooh.
So if you want to know more about that, which I am sure you do, you should visit.
Always, yes.
Yeah. It's gonna be something, and I think it's the cap to their month-long charity drive. This is it's the end. So we're gonna be the shitty part of the parade. Where you've seen the parade, and then there's a guy picking up horse
cleaning
shit.
up. Yeah, exactly.
That's
cleaning
us.
up stuff. That's you guys.
Just kidding. That's me, and then there's gonna be some really talented people there that I will be forgiving and praying for.
True.
As we defend Throbbingard, which is our fort. You're welcome for that. You're like, wow, cute. And that's kind of it. I'm slowly coming out of my cave. I'm doing that. And then I might be doing a little bit of Warhammering. The War Hamilton.
War Hamilton. Yep. It's changed his name legally now. So we have to call him that.
It is actually has been changed on his passport and ID. I've seen it.
Wow.
War Hamilton. It's true. And you can kind of imagine what it is that he does, and it's Warhammer things. And we've done some Warhammering with him, Fiona and I both.
We have. Yes.
And if you ask me, I think it was pretty good because we looked crazy.
I think
we dressed up okay. Just know that. Just know that we dressed up.
Visuals, great.
I'm just gonna say this. I've never been hotter in my life than I was.
'Tis true.
Sorry.
Every time you came on a call, I was like, damn it.
I'm so sorry.
I
have to say, there have been 2 moments in my life where I was like, I've done it. And it was playing Pirate Borg on UK Actual Play as whatever that was, that pirate that was based on Joe Dirt.
Yeah.
Disgusting. And I was like, was I supposed to be this? And then playing a horrible lordling on Hamilton's really high class and cool and cultured Warhammer channel, where people were probably expecting something really nice, and what they got was me with a beard.
You with a beard, with a chest plate, shouting brigands every so often. And
oh my god,
the best thing in the world.
Check out Hamilton. You already know who he is because he's over here.
He's sometimes on here, yeah.
He's over here. You've heard his voice and you liked it. And you would really like his Warhammer things.
Absolutely.
And Fiona's on there too, so if you like her, and damn it, if you don't, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Why
Get out!
Why don't you listen to an hour and 20 minutes of us chatting, just be like, actually, I don't like it.
I know you've been listening to the years of Fiona, and so you need to go see her dealing with that over on War Hamilton, but dang it, that's it. I'm having a cozy year over here while I figure out what else to make.
Heck yeah.
So dang it, go build a language. Get out of here.
Go build a language. Well, on that note, thank you so much for joining us this week. We'll be back again next week for another episode of the Dean's Book Club. But until then, friends, we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye now.